On September 30th, 2002, Michigan's NextEnergy Center stopped being a dream in Lansing and became a reality in Detroit.
Well, really, NextEnergy started as an idea back in around 2001. And the idea is that we wanted to make sure that Michigan was really well positioned for what we saw back then is the change in the use of fuels and energy that was powering, our #1 industry, which is the automotive industry. And what could we do to make sure Michigan was at the forefront of that? We really needed to have a center of excellence, a research center that also could be involved in trying to stimulate the growth of businesses that would take advantage of these new technologies located right here in Michigan, recognizing that alternative energy in and of itself, apart from the auto industry, was going to be a big piece of the new economy. That was the idea.
There was no place for NextEnergy when we began this idea. NextEnergy was an opportunity to build what you have here. We want it connected to three primary things. We wanted it connected to the auto industry, primarily to the auto industry. We wanted it connected to a vibrant center of learning, and we wanted it to be a tool for economic development.
So in the beginning, when NextEnergy was established, we had this office in the Fisher building. We had no furniture at the beginning. We had a card table, literally, a large boardroom table that just kind of came with the office. We sat down with a phone book and figured out who were the right stakeholders that we needed to call to get office equipment and supplies and really get the organization just set up from the very beginning, on top of then talking with the Department of Energy about funding. So it was all aspects from how do we get sticky notes to how do we get this $4 million funding from the Department of Energy to establish this program.
When the opportunity to join NextEnergy was presented, I jumped on it. It was a tremendous opportunity for me to participate really in the reinvention of the Michigan economy. The exciting thing about what NextEnergy is engaged in really is the fact that it gets to work with so many talented companies and individuals, all with a mission of driving business growth, driving technology development, and helping to contribute to the diversification of the economy here in the state. NextEnergy is the place to go for companies to accelerate their inventions into the marketplace.
We first moved in the mid-2000s to the facility when it was done. I think we were in the first lab, and NextEnergy helped us by networking with manufacturers that could help us with each piece and part of the unit, because it was power generation, heating and cooling, water purification, satellite communication. So the lab was really nice. We had a pretty big size unit, so you guys had a nice parking lot area with a nice test bay for us that we could connect to the utility and run our product. So it turned out to be the right place for us to come. So we started out with 3 employees, and today the company has about 55 employees.
Literally, NextCat would not exist without NextEnergy. NextEnergy was instrumental in acquiring the funds from the Department of Energy several years ago to establish the National Biofuels Energy Lab. And NextEnergy had the wisdom to hire Simon Ng and his team at Wayne State University to manage the NBEL lab. And out of the work that was done at the NBEL lab, NextCat was formed.
NextEnergy took Cortec to the Pentagon to present our TM3 microgrid solution to the Office of the Secretary of Defense for a one-on-one meeting. The meeting was fantastic. It was a great opportunity to present our design, to validate that we're on the right track and that we're developing future technologies that are of benefit to the government.
NextEnergy really gave us our start. We were a dream, if you will, with nowhere to go. NextEnergy gave us that venue. It gave us fleet customers to work with. It gave us physically the grounds on which we're standing to install our first station. It was the start of a partnership. We now have companies such as Meyer using our technology. We're now up to 12 full-time and part-time at our manufacturing operation in Detroit at Focus Hope, and also with our truck stop operation in Detroit.
If we were to be asked in a word, what is NextEnergy? I think we would refer to it as a catalyst. We would refer to it as a blending of good things to make great things.
A home run for NextEnergy is when we can really help companies identify opportunities, new ways where they can grow, hit new markets, commercialize products, and move forward in different industry sectors that they haven't really thought of before. As an example, we took on a development project for the Department of Defense to create control systems for microgrids and how they use electrical power in the battlefield. Through our work here at NextEnergy, testing and developing products with Michigan companies, we were actually able to deliver systems for deployment, and in a relatively short period of time. I mean, going from concept to something that somebody could use in 2 to 3 years is pretty good.
Zero-based energy is a renewable energy manufacturer. The best thing about NextEnergy's labs is our access to not only their network, but also their expertise. NextEnergy, as a third party, was able to come in and put the test together, zero-based hands-off, run the test for multiple weeks, 24 hours a day, and give us that data in a way that we could actually compile it and use it to communicate to the customer, the Department of Defense, that what their idea was for integration was actually going to work.
The NextEnergy Center has been great for us because it's a kind of watering hole for people coming into Detroit looking for something positive that's happening inside the city. And so we've been fortunate to get to know our senators and congressmen, get to know the mayor. When former President Clinton came through, we got to meet and talk with him. None of that would be true if we were sitting in our lab back in New York State.
When we moved into the lab space at NextEnergy, we constructed several prototypes of our product, some that we put up on the roof of here at NextEnergy, some in lab testing. And to date, we have produced well over 1,000 panels. We now have a 22,000 square foot manufacturing space, all equipped with robotics and a very good staff in order to produce our product. And it's located right here in Detroit.
What's interesting is when you bring all the systems together, all the different interactions that happen, whether it's a business problem, whether it's a technology problem, whether it's a user problem, there's always at the end gonna be some assessment and adjustment for moving forward. NextEnergy's mindset is that exactly.
For NextEnergy to be successful as an innovation center, one of the things we have to do well is to be the catalyst for bringing the right people together in the right ways to accelerate their individual progress. We at NextEnergy see the value that we bring as really being at that front edge of what's possible. Understanding where are the white spaces for energy technology development, what's the possible energy future, and recognizing it's going to be discontinuous from the existing energy environment. How do we move forward anyway? How do we understand what's possible at that front edge and then take what's possible and turn it into what's real?
We have to have the NextEnergy of the world being successful, being anchors for entrepreneurs, being anchors for commercial enterprise. And ultimately, the reach becomes more than commercial outputs or helping industry become more energy efficient. It becomes about changing the culture of a region to be more innovative and more entrepreneurial, which means changing the way we think about K-12, changing the way we think about higher education, changing the way we think about how we live our lives every day. I think that's the future of NextEnergy, a part of this vibrant network changing what we're thinking about in the region.
There's a great synergy between Wayne State and NextEnergy. Both of us are really looking to do what we do in terms of economic development and community relations with partnerships. And both NextEnergy and Wayne State have enjoyed a very good partnership for a number of years. We have a lab here at NextEnergy. We also have companies that have commercialized some of the technology that our researchers have been working on, and NextEnergy has been instrumental in helping to further that technology as it moves along its commercialization path.
NextEnergy is not a government agency, but it's involved in making good policy. NextEnergy isn't a major corporation, but it helps major corporations in bringing new technology. It's not a startup company per se, but it helps startup companies both get access to customers and to capital, but also to develop their technology.
One set of relationships that's particularly important to the work that we do is the work that we do in Washington, D.C., both directly with the Department of Defense and the other agencies, Department of Energy, and even the EPA on occasion, but also with the Michigan delegation. I think the delegates have come to rely on us as being really straight shooters about what's most important to Michigan industry going forward and how best to pull the programs and dollars together to actually accelerate progress with those programs.
Since NextEnergy's always been on the leading edge as far as looking at what we have to think about from the grid standpoint, what we have to think about vehicle and vehicle connected to grid or grid connected to vehicle, it's kind of obvious to see that where NextEnergy is going to be in the next 10 years is going to continue to be a thought leader. NextEnergy is going to continue to be that integral piece in the state of Michigan that's able to drive partnerships between industry and government, and to be able to be a thought leader in terms of policy.
NextEnergy has a great board of directors and has had really since we were founded 10 years ago. Currently, our board chair is Bob Buckler, who is a retired executive from the DTE Energy Company, and he has got a wealth of experience in the energy field, but also in the areas of operations and the role of economic development. So we've got a great board representing economic development interests, venture interests, entrepreneurial experience and expertise, and then some of our major customers and stakeholders, the university environment and the military.
The vision that we have for NextEnergy as a board is to have NextEnergy really have a voice in the national debate on energy, on policy, on being able to create policy that will help pull forward the industry so that these electric vehicles and things that we've invested here in Michigan will have a greater market.
Right now, we've got some electric vehicle charging infrastructure that we think is unique in the world. Bidirectional, ability to mimic any electric system anywhere in the planet, including DC power systems. You wouldn't necessarily see it when you drive up because it just looks like maybe some charging stations in a parking lot. But the reality is it is an advanced technology demonstration platform.
Where I see NextEnergy going in the future is becoming a leader not just in the state of Michigan, but nationally and internationally in developing new technologies, alternative technologies, advanced energy technologies, and really becoming the honest broker that brings together organizations from around the world, but really as part of this making Michigan a hub for this kind of energy development in the future.
And it feels good 10 years later to be able to look back and, actually be able to touch it, see the bricks and mortar, look at the companies that have been incubated in it, and see some of the events and the programs that it's been able to sponsor. It feels really good. It's a legacy that you feel good about.